Hello friends, if you see this video, I definitely made it. But to give you a little bit of context, it's Monday, 1st of September, and today I will start recording the whole journey of the months through to capture how much money I spent on the regular months of September living in Berlin.
People used to call Berlin affordable city for decades because it's cheaper comparing to other European capitals. But let's face the numbers and see if it's really so. Let me break down exactly what I spent in 1 month living in Berlin, Germany. And before we go into any details, let me give you a context. I'm Victoria, 32 years old. 11 years ago, I moved to Germany and became a real Berliner with German passport. I live in single apartment and work as the marketing manager at Audible, so I give a vibe of typical corporate girl here. I'm sure in this case the context really matter because despite the fact that my monthly income leans towards upper middle class in Germany, I continue maintaining the sustainable monthly budget and upgrade the level of life gradually. By the end of this video, you would be able to say by yourself if it's true or not, and in the meantime, let me briefly walk you through the expenses the same way I do in my monthly budget tracker. If you want to get one, you can definitely use my link below to get the free spreadsheet to track your money flows. And now let's start from the most intriguing part: rent in Berlin. That is hot topic here. Berlin used to be famous for cheap rents, but now not anymore. My rent is around 745 euro. That includes heating plus utilities. Every month I pay 41 euro for electricity and 52 euro for home internet. I found this place back in 2016 when the prices were just about to start to grow. And now comparing the same apartment in my neighborhood, I pay twice less without much changes over the recent 9 years. But because I'm financially literate, I actually have a strong argument to stay here for another years, because otherwise my rent can easily shift to over 2k euro per month. So obviously I avoid this highly expensive change to my lifestyle. Apart from that, my mobile connection to calls and internet also relatively cheap. I pay 11 euro per month for flat rate of calls, and also I got 5 gigabytes of internet access per month, and to be honest, I never use that much. Another thing, Berlin has very convenient public transport system: U-Bahn, S-Bahn, trams, buses. I pay 55 euro 10 cents for my monthly BVG ticket, aka Deutschlandticket. I don't really like to do cycling in the city because I personally find it a bit more hectic and aggressive sometimes. I've seen some not really nice accidents on the streets, and I do have German driving license, but I quickly realized after driving for a few months as my own car or leased car that with the circumstances I have right now in my life, that was giving me more stress than comfort. I live in city center and everything is nearby, so I can easily reach any place within maybe 30 minutes drive with the public transport. So with the car, I don't really win much time, but I was constantly stressed with parking situation here, especially in the city center. So for now, I choose public transport and prefer walking as my regular routine activity as much as I can. And occasionally, I obviously take a taxi ride. For the gym studio, I have relatively cheap membership fee because I'm the member of the very regular gym studio. It has nothing fancy, but all the basics are there. I pay monthly around 20 euro, and if I calculate my at least 2 times training per week, each session costs around 2 euro. That is very little and very much satisfying to know I'm not overpaying on that activity that sometimes, unfortunately, I have to skip. For swimming pool, I purchased a separate ticket on demand. I try to do this weekly, but this month I haven't done any swimming due to the construction work in the pool, but I'm coming back to this routine in October. And moving on to grocery shopping. Hence I work 5 days a week. Now from the office again, I have to optimize to go to supermarket only once a week. And I have to say it helps to be more intentional about my food choice and avoid spontaneous overspending on products. This month I literally spent €197.12. That were 4 major times with the full basket and a few times going for some specific place for some specific product. For example, I always go to some specific coffee shop to buy the fresh coffee for my weekend's coffee ritual at home. Or I go to some specific supermarket to buy some frozen mango for my overnight oats. In general, my diet is very simple. I like to cook healthy food for myself and also bring my meal as the prep meal to work. Despite the fact we have free lunches at work, I prioritize my health and I have needed amount of protein and fiber on regular basis, and you will always see some eggs or salmon, shrimps, chicken, cheese, vegetables in my bucket, and actually it doesn't cost me too much. And one more is the drug supply for my household. This month I had to refill few bottles, so my check from Rossmann was around €33, and I also go to Rossmann or DM only once a month, same reason. I'm more intentional about what I need to buy and I avoid random expenses on the cleaning supplies as well. And that's all for my essential living. Now let's move to the fun part. What I spend on the entertaining part of my life. And this expenses bucket consists of eating out budget, for example. On regular, I go to see my friends in cafes or restaurants, and in September, I've spent a little bit more than €75 on it. I don't like delivery, again because of the healthy dieting. I prefer cooking by myself, and I try to meal prep, or at least to have all the ingredients I need for quick cooking at home after work, to avoid craving for the quick solution with the delivery. But if you like eating out, of course, in Berlin, you can find plenty of different great cafes, restaurants, and street food. In September, I also had a pedicure. I actually do this every month. This time I paid €50 just because I was trying the new studio regularly. I pay €60 to the same master. I go every single month. This month I just needed some other timing that didn't work with my regular master for pedicure. And I didn't go to the cinema or theater this month, neither have I visited museums because the month was full of events. And actually I was adjusting my life schedule to the office routine 5 days a week, so that's why I opt out from some other social activities whenever it was possible. And another thing I should mention here is the subscriptions. I don't have any. That might be surprising, but I only have my Audible subscription. As an employee, I got access for free, so basically I'm listening audiobooks for free, but Spotify, Netflix, Apple TV is not my thing. As you can say, I have much stuff to do, work full-time and create content. By the way, I have another YouTube channel where I teach some basic German, so instead of consuming content, I prefer to work on producing that. That also helps me to keep 1 or maximum 2 hours per day limit on social media as well, because I simply don't have time for that. But what I have time for is reading. And my Sundays are usually the days with the chillest vibe of the week. So I like to buy physical books and stay at home reading and cuddling with my cat to recover my social battery once a week. And this month actually I got the new book, but I didn't pay for that because I found one secondhand bookshop in Berlin, in Prenzlauer Berg, where you can return the book back and receive half the price of that. So I literally exchanged 2 books I purchased there before to the one new book and didn't pay any cent for that. And also worth mentioning that nightlife is not really my thing, even though Berlin is known for its clubbing culture, but I don't really feel like partying, so that's why you won't see any expenses on nightlife in my monthly budget. But what I have in my life, it's another routine, this time for investments. I follow right now the dollar cost averaging strategy. That means that every single month I transfer €100 to my investment portfolio. This is my long-term solution. You might think it's not too much, but it's my strategy for now. And by the way, I've shared with you my journey about going from zero to first €100,000 in the separate video, so feel free to watch that if you are particularly interested in the topic of saving and growing your capital. Another bucket in my monthly budget is long-term use items, something like clothes, cosmetics, stuff for my household, and this month I spent around 307 euro, got the new loafers and cap from the Zalando, new skin products from the Dr. Barber, and new electric kettle because the old one unfortunately got broken. And for Zalando I actually spent more, but I had to return items I didn't like and I received my money back. And actually, because I do have my money tracker for a few years already, I see historically that September and October has the repeating templates of spending more on clothes shopping, and also March and April I have more budget on it. That's why I know that every time the seasons are changing, I have to upgrade my wardrobe a little and spend some money on that. For presents in September, I've spent almost 90 euro. I have fixed a contribution of 5 euro for the farewell or birthday cards for my colleagues at work. I don't know if it's too little or not, but I decided to stick to one sum and not questioning every time I'm chipping in. This month we had 3 occasions for colleagues to prepare a present, so I spent 15 euro, and also I had to support my family member once in a while, and I gave away around 70 euro this month. And the last but not least, my traveling budget. I've planned a small trip for me and my mom to go to Karlovy Vary in Czech Republic. The place is known for its thermal spa, and I covered all the expenses for our stay there. It was 442 euro for hotel stay for 4 nights we were there, plus around 16 euro we paid for the touristic tax, and for the local food and some small thing that we need to buy there locally we spent slightly more than 160 euro. Plus, two-way ticket, for me it costed 60 euro, was the seat reservation from Berlin to Karlovy Vary that I have purchased obviously in advance. That's why you see such an affordable price for the train ticket. But let's just calculate all of that into the budget of September to make it simple. So in total I spent around 2,455 euro per month living in Berlin, and the rest I have left from my salary I put into saving account with an interest. Is it cheap? Depending who you ask. The key is not just how much you spend, but how much value you get from these spendings. And I feel comfortable with the level of life I have right now. I can afford more expensive things, but I'm also mindful about my regular monthly budget to build step by step my way towards financial freedom. Would you be able to live on this budget in Berlin, or do you need more or less? Feel free to share your monthly budget in the comment, or if you don't know how much you spend on regular basis, feel free to watch this video on my channel. And take care, see you very soon. Bye bye!